Hi friends, today we're going to do lesson 2.6. This lesson is on page 119 of your math book, so make sure you're open to page 119. Let's go ahead and read the problem. Today we're going to talk about how we can solve problems using data. Okay, so that's going to help us better understand the information in the questions. Derek's class voted on a topic for the school bulletin board. The bar graph shows the results. How many more votes did computers receive than space? So first I'm going to box some operation clues. Up first, I see the words, how many more? For me, when I see the words, how many more, that tells me that we're going to need to subtract. And then the votes that we're comparing is going to be computers and space. So those are the two that we're going to be subtracting. And we know that we need to subtract because we see these keywords, how many more. All right, so one way that we can use data to solve problems is we can use the model that they give us. Now, whenever we see a graph, I always tell you that I want you to total up the numbers that you're seeing. So if we look at the votes for the school bulletin board topic, the number of books we're going to write next to it, it ends at this line right here. So the total number of votes is 6. The total number of votes for health is 8 because it ends at this line. The total number of votes for computers is 10. And space ends between 2 and 4, and I know that that would represent the number 3. Now, one way that we can solve this problem is to use the model that it gives us. So this tells you that you can count back along the scale to find the difference between the bars. So here they took a snapshot of what we see over here. They knew that we were finding the difference between computers and space. So they started with the space bar that we found equals 10, and they counted back by 2s until they got backwards to where space landed. Now, you might ask, how did they know to count back by 2s? Well, I noticed that the scale goes from 0 to 2 to 4 to 6 to 8. So the difference isn't 1, 2, 3, 3.5. The difference is 2, that's one jump, 4, that's the second jump, 6, that's this third jump, and this, you're only jumping half of what the scale is. So we're just going to add 1 there. So they counted back from 10 to 3 to see how much different these two bars were. So the difference between these two is going to be 7 votes. Another way that we can solve it is by writing a number sentence. Now this is what I find to be the easiest. So we want to think about the number of votes that there are for each. If we know that we're subtracting, then we know the bigger number is going to go first. So there are 10 votes for computers, and I know that I am going to subtract the number of votes for space. And here we totaled up that the number of votes for space is 3. So then we do the equation 10 minus 3. Now, if you know your tens facts, we should be able to find that fairly easy. If I have 10 circles and I cross out 3, I'm left with 7. So computers received 7 more votes than space. All right, so now let's take what we've learned and let's apply it on the next page. So flip the page to 120. When we look at 120, we've got a new graph. So before I even answer the questions, I know that I can go through and I can write the totals first. So Tuesday I see here that it's between 12 and 16. Now, if I were to write out all the numbers between 12 and 16, I'd have 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now, I need to find the number that's in the middle, so I'm going to cross one out from each side, cross one out from each side again, and I'm left with the number in the middle, which is equal to 14. Now, for the total of Wednesday, we're going to follow this line down here, and we land on 16. Now, go ahead and do the last two on your own. Alrighty, you should have found that Thursday ended at the line for 24, and that Friday ended at in between 24 and 28, which if I were to write the numbers out and cross them out, I would find that 26 is in the middle. Now that we have our totals, we can go ahead and answer the questions. Brooke's school collected cans of food. The bar graph at the right shows the number of cans. How many fewer cans were collected on Tuesday than on Thursday and Friday combined? So I'm going to box some of those important words. I see the words, how many fewer? Whenever I hear the word fewer, that means I'm going to subtract. And we are going to compare the ones that were collected on Tuesday to the ones that were collected on Thursday and Friday combined. When I see that lucky word combined, it tells me that I'm going to have to add before I'll be able to subtract. So step 1 says that we need to find the total for Thursday and Friday, because here it talks about the number of Thursday and Friday combined. Now, one of the strategies that we learned in the last problem was that we can write an equation. So what we want to do is we want to write an equation to add together Thursday and Friday. So I'm going to take my two numbers that we wrote over here. I'm going to add 24, that's the total from Thursday, and 26, which is the total from Friday, together, and I'm going to need to find my answer. So I have some space over here. I'm going to go ahead and do it out. You go ahead and do it on your own. I know that 6 and 4 make a 10, and I'm going to carry the 1, and that 2 plus 2 equals 4, plus 1 is going to give me 5. So I found that the total is 50. Did you find that as well? Awesome job. Now, we have to compare Thursday and Friday combined to Tuesday. So we need to subtract Tuesday from the total that we just found. So we are going to start with Thursday and Friday combined, which we found equals 50. And then we are going to subtract, we're comparing Tuesday. So Tuesday we found that there were 14. Now I want you to pause the video and calculate your answer. All right, so if you're listening now, you have already calculated your answer. I'm going to show you how I found it. I wrote out 50 minus 14, and I cannot subtract 4 if I only have 0. So I'm going to knock next door and borrow from my 5. My 5 then becomes a 4, and I'm going to add 10 to my 0. Now 10 minus 4 is 6, and 4 minus 1 is 3. So we are left with 36. Now 36 is the answer to how many fewer cans were collected on Tuesday than on Thursday and Friday combined. So I'm going to write my answer here. There were 36 fewer cans collected on Tuesday than on Thursday and Friday combined. Now, if you take a look below, It says, what if 4 fewer cans were collected on Monday than on Tuesday? How many cans were collected on Monday? Explain. Now, if you take a look at the graph, you'll notice that Monday isn't on here. So we have to use the information that we have from the graph to show and figure out how many cans would have been collected on Monday. So we have 4 fewer. That tells me that I'm going to need less, which means I'm going to have to subtract. Were collected on Monday than on Tuesday. So if I look at my graph, I do have Tuesday on my graph. Okay, so we're going to take the number that we have for Tuesday, where if I look to the right, the number I've got is 14. And if it says that I need 4 fewer, how many do you think I'm going to subtract? Perfect. I'm going to subtract 4. And when I do 14, take away 4. 4 minus 4 is easy. That's 0. And 1 minus 0 is 1. So our answer is 10. Now we don't necessarily need to explain because I have my work here and I have my work here. All right, go ahead and go on to the next must do.